Hey guys, my name is Jack and welcome to episode number 5 of Behind the Edit. Today I'm going to be talking about protecting your gear and storing your gear. So I'm going to go over 2 of my favorite products for storing and protecting my gear. Number 1 is going to be my Canon small pouch. It is a pretty basic camera bag, little front pocket. It's got a pretty decent sized inner pocket with no dividers. You can put them in, I just don't have any in, and it's got a soft panel on the bottom that you can remove. It's a pretty standard bag that comes with a lot of camera kits and bundles. There's also a mesh pocket up top for batteries and storage and things, and it's got a zipper and a metal clasp on it, so it's really pretty secure, and it's made of a really durable nylon material. So that is going to be really good for any of you guys with a little bit of a smaller setup, and also for people that are just getting started out and might have just acquired that bag through buying their camera. So number 2 is my most recent purchase for protecting my gear, and that is my Seahorse case. This thing is a monster, and that's the comparison to my head. It's huge. This is the SE520 model, and I'll do an up close of it. It's really insane. It's got clasps on the sides, it opens up, there's foam, there's tons of equipment in there. I can house pretty much my whole rig. Actually, I can house my whole rig in there, and it's completely waterproof, it's airtight, it's dustproof, it's shockproof. People have dropped them off of cars, things like that. I figured this thing, compared to how much I spend on all of my gear, is a minimal fraction of the cost when it comes to the longevity of my film equipment. So the $63 that this thing costs is definitely worth it to protect the, close to $2,000 that I spent on my film equipment. Not saying that you need this case or you need to spend that much money on your film equipment. It's just that's what I ended up spending, and this is why I bought that case. So I think this case is definitely a necessary for anybody that really wants to have their gear around for a long time. I have already taken this out into a wet environment. I brought it out in the water. It was really just a treat to use. It got soaking wet and all my gear stayed perfectly dry. So highly recommend any type of hard-sided, watertight, airproof case. Pelican makes them, Seahorse makes them, even cheaper. So if you're into that, definitely look around. One thing about these cases though is, since they are so heavy duty, they come with the weight. So they are a lot heavier than your small pouch, which weighs like less than a pound. This case itself probably weighs 1.5 pounds. So you're getting what you pay for pretty much. Another option is to use a backpack, which I don't have on me right now, but a backpack with dividers in it. I own the Amazon Basics backpack, which is actually really nice, and I love it for snowboarding because I can throw all my gear in there, and it's got a chest strap and a waist strap on it, so it keeps it super secure to my body. I can just pop it off really quick, throw it down, get all my gear out, and start filming. So that makes it really easy. It's just not as protective as, the Seahorse case, but it's not made to be. But there's tons of pockets, tons of compartments, and tons of options for storage. So I highly recommend checking out any of the Amazon Basics camera bags or camera cases. So with that being said, what kind of case should you buy? It's really going to depend on what you are going to be doing with your gear and where you're going to be bringing your gear. Now, the small pouch for me was always really nice because it's got built-in buckles in the back. If you pop these little buttons, you get a buckle out like this, and that was always really nice for me because it turns into a fanny pack, and although it looks super gay, it really has some function to it. So I could skate around with that thing on my waist and then just pull out my gear as I needed it. So that was really helpful. Obviously, I completely lose that feature when I switch to this, and I don't ride with this at all, but you definitely have to consider what you're going to be doing with your gear, where you're going to be taking your gear. You don't want to buy a case that's completely overkill for the job when you could have bought a case that's way better for the job, that's way cheaper. So just think about that. Think about whether you want a backpack, a hard case, or a small pouch, or a fanny pack even, or the same thing, all combined. So I'll leave you with one more thing, and that would be, if you're considering buying one of these cases, a Seahorse or a Pelican or any of these big hard-sided cases, do your research and look at the interior dimensions, because a lot of times with these cases you will find yourself sometimes underbuying or overbuying, and you might buy a case that is either way too big or way too small for all of your gear. So I was looking at Pelican cases originally, and I was pretty die-hard about having a Pelican case, and the biggest I could afford was their 1300 model, and it was just not big enough to fit all my equipment comfortably. It would have really been a decision of whether or not I'd be taking certain things with me when I packed that case. So I looked around, I found Seahorse, and they had a case for less than the Pelican 1300 that was actually bigger and was just as good, sometimes even better. So look around, look at the interior dimensions. That's what's really going to matter. And another thing is, I highly recommend that you get the foam, the pick and pluck foam. It just makes it so much easier to customize your case, and it allows you to kind of just slip things in and out. Like my camera right here, I can just slide it in to this pre-cut area, and it is going to stay super safe in there. So I'll leave you guys with that. This has been episode number 5 of Behind the Edit, and I will see you guys next Friday with a whole nother video on how to film skateboarding. Peace.